Hello everyone, my name is Arnal. I'm from Cebu, Philippines, and I'm a front-end tech lead at a software development company called Neologic. How do you keep up with the latest trends, advances, and programming languages in this field? Keeping up with the latest trends is hard, especially in the web where almost every day a new framework, library, or trend pops up. And I think it's alright to not really keep up with all of these trends. In my case, I try to focus on specific areas on the web where I'm really interested in, and I keep up with the latest trends in those through newsletters, reading a lot of articles, and following the right people on Twitter. Think back to 5 years ago. Did you envision your career as it is today? If yes, how did you plan it? If no, what led you to your current career? I would say not really. 5 years ago, that's about when I graduated from university, and I've just been focusing on getting better at web development, which is what I do. I've also never heard of the GDE program before, and how I got into my current career today, including becoming a GDE, is mostly thanks to a lot of amazing people that I met along the way, and maybe a little bit of luck. How did you develop the confidence or skill of speaking so engagingly in front of groups? What is your advice to those people who wanted to become a good speaker but haven't found the courage to do so? I got comfortable speaking in front of groups after doing it many times, so I guess in this case, practice makes perfect, or at least practice makes better. And of course, also listening to feedback from people on how I can do it better. My advice would be to start somewhere, maybe with a smaller group with your close friends who are willing to listen to what you want to share. And aside from knowing what you are talking about, you just need to practice actually speaking using your voice. And once you figure out how loud you have to be or how fast or slow you need to talk, and also when to time your jokes to keep the audience engaged, I guess you're pretty much good to go. See you on April 24, Level Up with GDE.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this Saturday afternoon, and we hope that everyone's staying safe. Welcome to our third session of Level Up with GD. So today, two of Google developer experts for web technologies in Southeast Asia will be joining us, and we're very excited to what they will be sharing us. So please don't forget to share this live stream on your social media accounts with the hashtags GDG Philippines and Level Up with GDE 2021. So before we formally start, let's hear some words from this event's project lead, Stephen Raimundo. Hi, Stephen, you're on mute. Stephen, we can't hear you. Stephen, I guess you're having some difficulties. So we'll just call you up later. So yeah, um, without further ado, let's start with introducing our first speaker. So Arnel is a web developer from Cebu, Philippines, and a Google developers expert for web technologies who enjoys building things with good old HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and web platform APIs. He is an active volunteer and speaker for Google Developer Group Cebu and other local JavaScript communities. When not busy experimenting with new web APIs, he can also be seen taking photos, playing video games, and practicing his card tricks. Actually, I'm a bit curious about this one, so we'll definitely ask how is he doing this card tricks. But anyway, let's welcome Arnel Balane as he talks about front-end web development in 2021. Hi, Arnel.
Hello, Mike, Jack, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
So
good.
thank you so much for joining us. I'll leave the floor to you.
Okay. So hi everyone. Welcome to the event. So for this session, I'll be sharing about like some things about front-end web development that we can look forward to in 2021 and beyond. So let's start. But first of all, quick intros. As they said, I'm Arnel. I'm a tech lead at New Logic, mostly focusing on front end stuff. I'm also a GDE for web technologies. We also have a YouTube channel, shameless plug. It's called Uncut Exceptions. So please subscribe. We do a live stream every Saturday, 9 p.m. So in fact, in about 5 hours from now, we will be doing another live stream. So yes, it would be great to see some of you there. And if you want to get the copy of these slides, you can get it from this URL, or you can scan the QR code. I'll show the QR code again at the end of the presentation, so you'll see it again later. So anyway, while I was preparing for this talk, researching about like front-end web dev trends, so I came across this article from Sean Wang or SWYX on social media about entitled "The Third Age of JavaScript," where he kinda explained like how about in every about 10 years there's a change in how like the JavaScript ecosystem like goes with its technologies and its approaches and stuff, and how it's feels like right now we're at the beginning of the third age of JavaScript. So I would like to like go deeper, like more details into this. So the story so far, a bit of like a history lesson maybe, or like where we are at now. So the first stage of JavaScript kind of started a few years after JavaScript was created. So we all know the story of JavaScript, how Brendan I created it in about 10 days. So during the first stage of JavaScript, it's mostly focused on building out the JavaScript language because it was pretty new. So early on, we had several iterations of the ECMAScript standard, which is the standard that which JavaScript follows. And so we have ECMAScript 1, 2, 3, which were like just drafts and like just polishing things out. Then we had the infamous ES4, which was very ambitious and ultimately got abandoned later on. So it didn't end up seeing the light of day. And also during this time, we had the so-called browser wars, wherein several browser vendors just ship their own like browser features, not much collaboration between each others. So writing code for the web that works across all these browsers during that time was pretty difficult. So I mean, I wouldn't know. I wasn't a web dev back then yet, but that's what they say. So, but also the first age of JavaScript or of web even wasn't just all like bad stuff. It was also during this time when the web developers discovered like Ajax or asynchronous JavaScript and XML, which essentially allows us to like dynamically fetch and send data to our server and like dynamically update our page content without having to refresh the page. So this was highly like popularized early on with Google Maps and Gmail and other Google stuff. So I think it was here when like we thought, okay, JS could be fun. Um, Also, because of all the browser wars and like inconsistent browsers behaviors, this led to the rise of like the OG JavaScript libraries like jQuery, which somehow provides a simpler API um, for developers to use instead of having us deal with all the inconsistent browsers behaviors. So that was cool. Yes, this is the first stage. And shortly after that, once I think people realized that web dev could be fun, we all started like exploring and expanding the JavaScript language. So it was during the second age where we got ECMAScript 5, the next iteration of the ECMAScript standard. And unlike its predecessor, ECMAScript 4, which was abandoned, ECMAScript 5 was quickly adopted by all the browser vendors. And even until now, it's what we use as like a baseline for like browser support because pretty much every web browser out there supports ES5. And up until like this time, we all think that okay, JavaScript is just for like browser stuff. Until one day, clever people created Node.js, allowing us to run JavaScript on the server side. And to add to that, we got NPM, which is our registry where everyone just published their own, all of their like JavaScript code for everyone else to use. So this changed everything. Once we knew that, okay, we can now run JavaScript in the server, this led to like a lot of Node.js based web frameworks like popping up here and there, things like Express, Happy, Koa, and so much more out there. I'm sure you know so much more than these three. We started using them as our backends instead of like the traditional PHP or Rails or others. Um, then we had this. Also, we started not we only didn't use it. We didn't only use it for like web servers. We also use Node.js and JavaScript to perform our automated tasks. So this led to the rise of like some task runners to automate things like minifying our web assets, like things like that. Things like Grant or Gulp were like pretty popular back then, which eventually evolved into module bundlers. So unlike task runners where they like perform one-off like tasks, bundlers allows us to like manage our dependencies and then build them into like a single JavaScript file or several if we're doing code splitting. But that's the idea. So things like probably Webpack is like what we're all familiar with right now. But there's also like Parcel, Rollup, Browserify, which is like an earlier bundler. And because of these new tools, we also saw a rise of like UI libraries and frameworks, things like React, Vue, Angular, and others. So this allows us to like create UI very quickly without having to deal with a lot of DOM stuff. So we get things like the virtual DOM, like reactivity. So which is pretty cool. Allows us to build like web applications really quickly. So these UI libraries and frameworks, most of them, they're usually designed to work within a DOM element and then all of its children elements. So what about pages? What about state? What about like forms, submitting things to the server? So all of these things need to be added to these libraries and frameworks as plugins. So that's why we also get these days what we call meta frameworks, which are frameworks built on top of the other frameworks in the previous slide, which essentially already wires these things up out of the box for us. So they already come with like routing, like form handling, state management, things like that, so that we can now focus on um, building our app instead of spending hours configuring like config files and build tools. And okay, we also have like several tools that helps us ensure our code has good quality that we like specified early on, like things like Prettier for formatting, ESLint for linting, Jazz, Puppeteer, Ava, Mocha, and many other tools for testing. So these are all powered by Node.js and like new JavaScript features, and the ability to run them on the server or on our machine makes these things possible. So aside from tools, JavaScript itself also evolved during this time. So we're probably familiar with ES6, or formerly called now like ES 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. These are now the yearly iterations of the ECMAScript standard, so which adds new features to the JavaScript language. And of course, we have Bubble, which helps us transpile all of these features back into ES5, which is supported across all browsers if we need to. And then I think this is the last slide for this section. We experimented with like adding types to JavaScript. So we had like flow and TypeScript for like adding flow annotations and ensuring that the things that we pass around in our code are like the types that we expect. So yes, that's what we had during the second age. Okay, that's still have one last slide. And aside from like staying on the web, JavaScript also expanded into like the desktop platform with Electron, and also into mobile with things like React Native and similar libraries. And of course, we have progressive web apps, which are regular web apps that can be installed both on desktop and mobile platforms. So as we can see, the second age of JavaScript and the web was like a very exciting time. We got a lot of new tools, new like approaches, new methods to building applications, and like new possibilities in like other platforms. So now we are kinda into at the beginning of like a third age of JS and the web. So it's like last year, 2020 and beyond, including now. So if the first age was mostly focused on like building the language, and the second age was mostly on like exploring what the language can do and expanding it to other platforms, it's thought that third age could be about like clearing away legacy assumptions that we have with JavaScript, and also collapsing layers of tooling. So let's take a look at what it means. So one legacy assumption that we have now is that in JavaScript, or even at least in Node.js, that we have to rely on CommonJS. So CommonJS is like the module system that we use in Node. It's what we do with like require and exports and module.export. That's CommonJS syntax. So the reason why we had that in Node is that during the time when Node was created, JavaScript didn't really have a standardized module system. So that's why they just chose CommonJS, I think. So there are some downsides to CommonJS when it comes to like web. So first of all, it was designed for server environments, so it's really like synchronous. It doesn't natively work on browsers unless you like bundle them using module bundler like Webpack or Rollup. And also, since require could be like dynamically called like anywhere in the code, it doesn't work too well with static analysis tools, which helps with like tree shaking and stuff. So as an alternative, JavaScript now has a standardized module system called ES modules. Now this has been around for a while now, but just didn't get like the momentum to be adapted because we're like pretty satisfied with our existing tools. So the nice thing with ES modules is that it works both in the server and um, the browser. So in the browser, we can just call a script tag with type module, then we can use ES modules in there. And also it works because imports, okay, so ES modules uses the import export syntax because the imports are like static imports. They are easily analyzed by static analysis tools, so makes it easier to like tree shake unwanted or like unused code. So yeah, this is probably one thing that will happen moving to S modules. And we're already seeing like some tools that are like already betting on ES modules and like adapting ES modules already. So first of them would be Snowpack. So it says in their motto or in their site that you should be able to use a bundler because you want to, not because you need to. So they take by default, Snowpack provides an unbundled ES modules that runs in the browser. It doesn't bundle all our code into a single JavaScript file. One nice thing also with Snowpack is that it supports streaming imports, which means whenever we import something in our code, it automatically like instead of requiring us to npm install it, it automatically fetches it from a CDN that they also manage called Skypack. So the people behind Snowpack, they also maintain a package CDN called Skypack where they import our dependencies from. So we don't need to install them in our machines anymore. So here's what it looks like. I mean, here's what ES modules look like. So we just import our dependencies like React, for example. So if we are using Snowpack specifically, we just import like React or React DOM like we normally do. But once we run like Snowpack dev and then serve it in our browser, it will automatically transform our import into URLs pointing to like the Snowpack CDN. So you are downloading React and React DOM from the CDN instead of npm installing it. Another tool that does this is WMR from, so this is created by the guy who created Preact. So it uses native primitives of the web platforms. So that means yes, modules. So it heavily relies on the packages being compatible with native ES modules. And same with Snowpack, it also supports streaming imports. So similarly, this is what it looks like, just import that we are already familiar with. So if we import a library by like just providing the bare import in the first, in the first example, this will import from npm. However, if we provide a URL, then it will import from that URL and not install any dependencies anymore. So, and this is valid like ES module syntax, and this runs perfectly fine on the browser. And finally, probably a different runtime. So we have Deno. So this was created by the same person who created Node.js in the first place. So Deno now opts for ES modules using absolute or relative URLs. So even for Deno standard library. So here's an example. So Deno has a UUID module in standard lib, and you have to it needs to be imported using ES modules from its URL. So that's about it for ES modules. And next legacy thing that we'll talk about is that that this thinking that JS tools needs to be written using JavaScript. So there's some upsides with writing tools in JavaScript. First of them would be it's easier for people to contribute to projects because, like, for example, for me, I'm a JavaScript developer. I'm using several JavaScript tools. If I find some issues in some of them that I know I can fix, I can easily dive into the code. I can understand the JavaScript code and then contribute back to the project. In addition to that, JavaScript with npm already has a very rich ecosystem of libraries. So it makes it faster to develop um, our tools because we can just build on and use the libraries that are already provided by other people on NPM. However, there are also upsides into using into writing JS tools with non-JS languages. It's mostly comes down to speed. So other languages can be compiled into native binaries, which are generally faster than JavaScript. So here we'll take a look at some tools that are written in other languages. So first of all, with the ES build, it's a bundler, it's a JavaScript and TypeScript bundler and minifier written in Go, and it claims to be like 10 to 100 times faster than JS-based tools. And when someone says they're 100 times faster than something, that's sort of a big deal. You can't just ignore that. So here's an example. So here at the left, we have a typical React code with like some JSX. And then the right, just showing how we use ESBuild to bundle it. So pretty simple CLI. And the second thing, second example here is SWC, which is a JavaScript and TypeScript compiler written on Rust. On their benchmarks, they're also like at least 18 times faster than than Babel, which is the de facto transpiler on the web. So I don't have an example here, but yes, that's it. So clearing away legacy assumptions. First was that, okay, I now forgot. So first is that, second one was that JS tools must be written in JS. And first one is that we need to use common JS. So another thing that might happen in the third age of JS is that layers of tooling will be collapsing. So what it means is that currently we have many things that do one thing very well. Like we have good linters, we have good like transpilers, etc. But we might see some tools that just collapse or like combine all of them into a single tool. So because currently when we do front-end development, there's like a lot of decision fatigue when we start a project, like what front-end framework do we want to use? Should I use client-side routing? What library should I use? What do I use for state management? What do I use to style my components? What do I use to test? Etc. So we have to make all of these decisions. So that's why like front-end meta frameworks are very helpful. They get us up to speed right away. But we can even get this into like the tools themselves. For example, with the Dano, which is like a completely whole new runtime. It's not based on Node.js or anything. It was built completely from scratch. It already comes with TypeScript support, linting, formatting, testing, bundling, and even a standard library out of the box. So no need to install anything. Just get Dano and you get all of these. So here's just examples. I don't need to actually understand it, but here's an example Dano code snippet. And here at the bottom, we just we're running our code. And the first time it runs, it will download the dependencies. I mean, not download, but like cache them locally so it works offline. And then also supports like code formatting and linting. So here it's showing like some formatting errors. Also, Deno supports bundling, which like takes all of our code and different dependencies and combines them into a single file. And of course, compiling it into like an executable. So another tool, so if Deno was like a completely new runtime that combines all of the tools, Rome would be like a similar thing, but for Node.js. So it really says this in the documentation site that ROM is designed to like replace Bubble, SLint, Webpack, Prettier, Just, etc. So ROM supports bundling, compiling, documentation, generation, formatting, linting, minification, testing, type checking, etc. Pretty much all the tools that we use these days into a single tool. So currently, development status-wise, ROM currently only supports linting. So these other features are still like coming in the future. But let's take a look. So here's the same snippet that we had before. And when we run ROM check, it will um, display to us all the linting errors that it's found. So in a very nice way. And finally, going back to the framework side, we are seeing Svelte, which is collapsing everything from like state and reactivity, state management, animations down into the compiler level. That means no more virtual DOM layer. So here we are seeing like a sample Svelte code, and side by side is its generated JavaScript output. So the JavaScript code here doesn't do anything with virtual DOM. In fact, these functions that we see here, for example, element, which is called here element h1, it's just a small wrapper around document that create element, which is a native DOM operation. Same with insert, which is under the hood just using insert before. So there's no virtual DOM, this usually leading to like smaller bundle sizes and faster sites. And even in like the way we deploy front end sites right now, so with things like Jamstack, all the like the steps in order needed to deploy our front end, it's been collapsed into just the essentials. So like we manage our code with Git, we build it, and then deploy it to the CDN. So all of these simplifications are like making things easier for us. So like just to summarize, I think we're out of time. Yeah. So just to summarize, web development in like 2021 and beyond, with sort of, I mean, this first one was probably obvious. We can expect like faster tools, not because like not only because like we're getting faster machines and stuff, but also because maybe some of them will be written in other non-JS languages already. Second, faster tools, they lead to like better developer experiences because we don't have to wait several minutes for a build to finish. Maybe we just need to wait 30 milliseconds or something. And also better user experiences because some builds, for example, with Svelte or other tools in the future, builds will be smaller. So we ship fewer bytes into our users. So our users will see that sites load faster and they save data. And of course, ES modules first, because ES modules is now like the standard module system for JS. Collapsed layers of tooling, as in one tool that does many things very well. And finally, like generally more secure because like there's many parts of it, but just for example, um, when we import an ES module from a URL instead of like how we do now, the imported code won't get a chance to run on our file system, so it can't do things like get all our data and send it somewhere. But they'll be running in like a browser sandbox, so that's generally safer. And yes, that's pretty much it. So thank you for like listening to this talk. Again, there's the QR code to get the slides, and feel free to ask questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Arnel, for that very informative talk. So I think we have few questions. So I'll start with one from our Facebook page. So, hello, thanks for the talk po. Super informative. Just want to ask, since there has been a boom of CMS like Wix, WordPress, etc., it's kind of scary, but where do you see web development in the coming years? This is the question from Aaron Luke.
Yes, so thanks for the question, Aaron. So Wix, WordPress, they've been around for like a while now, but web development, so you can build websites from scratch. Like if you know how to code like React, JavaScript, HTML and stuff. Or also you can also use Wix, WordPress to make the process faster, right? But the thing is, if you're using Wix or WordPress, it doesn't mean you won't get the benefits of like a better web in the future, because the developers who are like maintaining Wix, WordPress, they can also apply them into the platform itself. So that means if in the future web becomes faster, more secure, that means, I mean, if at least the Wix and WordPress devs are doing their jobs properly, that means Wix and WordPress sites will also become faster, safer, more enjoyable to work with in the future. So I think it's a win-win either way.
All right. So I guess there's nothing to be scared of.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ernel. We still have two questions that we pulled this up. Okay, next. How do you determine which front end library to invest in learning on? Because a lot of tools change quickly with new frameworks always coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. Very common question. So I think it's, I mean, at least for me, the way I determine is that um, I usually have a go-to library, which is for me personally that would be Vue.js. We thought hard about that before, and but then in my case, that's always my go-to in case like it's like a clutch project, need to get it done as soon as possible. But also for other project, I give myself like chance to explore other libraries. But I think if you're like starting from scratch, you're still at the point where okay, what am I actually going to learn? I think it depends on like, I mean, I don't know. It depends. There are some guidelines, maybe like maybe if you're wanting to learn a library to like in order to join or work at a specific company, then maybe if that company is using React, then I think it's in your best interest to learn React. So that's one way you can that can help to guide you decide, help you decide. Other things, if other than that, in case you're just learning it for fun, then I think just pick one and learn it. Yeah, I think.
Okay. So I guess there's a really lot to learn on, but it will really depend on how you use it. And
Yes. And what
okay.
you want to get from it
Okay.
once you learn that
What do you
library.
want to focus on, right? Okay.
Oh,
Thanks, Ardell.
another also helpful thing. Okay, sorry. Yeah, just to add like
Okay,
quickly.
go, go.
Also you can check out like every year there are there's like the state of JS surveys and stuff where like which like service developers across the world on like which libraries are like commonly used everywhere. So you can also check um, those results so that you know which libraries are relevant or being used or like popular across like different companies. So at least you're not learning a library that's not being used anywhere.
Okay, got it. Thanks, Arnel. Last question here. So, do you need to be knowledgeable in a lot of front end frameworks to get a career in front end web development, or you only need to pick a few of them?
Do you need to knowledge a lot? Do you need knowledge in a lot of front end frameworks? Absolutely not. So I think I've been like a web developer for more or less 2 or 3 years without knowing any frameworks. So just JavaScript, HTML, CSS. So I think learning a framework it's not really required. Although these days frameworks definitely help a lot with building web projects. So learning maybe even at least one and just focusing on that, learning the ecosystem around it, the different like libraries um, and plugins that work well with that framework, and that will for me is like just enough to do fine in like front end web dev.
Yes, and I think one of our attendees from Facebook, Neil Marine, agrees also that it depends on what kind of project that you are going to build. So yeah,
Yep.
thank you so much, Ardell, for having us. Do you have anything to plug? Do you have next events coming in?
Yes, I have something flagged. So I don't have next events, but later in about 4 hours and 20 minutes, we'll be doing a live stream on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe and see you there. Thank
Wow.
you.
So if nabitin tayo today, don't forget to catch Arnel later on. So thank you so much, Arnel, and I hope you stay safe.
Thank you, everyone. And
Thank you. So yeah, um, before we proceed with our next speaker, so Let let us see the video shown previous week to share the experience that Warat was able to share with us on the video. So yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Warakomanikit. I'm from Thailand. Right now, I'm work in the company named White Size. I'm the co-founder of the company and also chief product officer of the company. I think what two milestones that impact my life. Uh, First one is about my company. So I'm the co-founder of the company. I'm start the company with my co-founder and just a couple stuff. It's already 10 years right now. From one developer is me. Right now we have a 30 developer and 9 product manager. So the team is bigger. Right now the whole company is around 190, almost 200. We operate mainly in Thailand and some country in Southeast Asia. So it's very far from what I'm start. I'm graduate from the college, but right now it's already 10 years. Our company is growing up almost 1,000% from the day that I'm start the company. So we got the right fund, we got the new investor, and we are bigger and bigger. Right now, we are the number one of what we did in the market. But second milestone is myself. I got a GDE study like reward since 2016, if I remember not wrong. I run the community activities over 10 years before I got the GDE badge. So that is impact my life a lot. My life changed after I got the title, and also is make me to got the new opportunities and chance to go out to like meet the people. My inspiration of work is I think I focus on web. I always love web. Even I know from like many guy perspective that app is better or like other platform is better. Yes, I know. I don't have any agreements of that, but what I love web is has something that other platform cannot do. Is web can run anywhere as you want. So I love to do the web because when I do the web, when I creating the web, I can run my work in like almost platform with the single code. So that is what I love. That is what I always happy with this, and I always got the inspiration a lot from when someone created new things on the web and makes web better and became the apps or whatever more than the just platform to provide the content to the user. My definitions of success is always changed, so that why I don't call it success, because success is relative for me. It's related on or what is your expecting your age. When I'm young, my success is like the salary or just I have money enough for find a good meal. But when I growing up, my success is like focus on the company success, the team success. So for me, is or if you ask me what is my definition of success today, I think there are two things. One is the success of the company, that I can grow a lot, grow to the milestone that I'm expect. For me personally, I think uh, my success definition is the impact that I can make to the community. So I want to make the communities better. I mean the developer communities. So if I can make the high impacts, I think that is my success. But is on the on the steps and still not happened yet. But I think it's still on track for me.
All right, so I guess we heard a lot from Warat now. So to formally introduce, Warat is a web GDE from Thailand. He loves everything about web and he has a passion to make web better. Today, he will share with us the answer on what is Project Fugu and how it impacts web development. Let's welcome Warat Wongmanikit, the Chief Product Officer at WiseSite. Nice meeting
Hello,
you.
everyone. Yeah, hello,
Hello.
Faye. Yep.
Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you. I hope you're
Yep.
staying safe and I'll leave the floor to you.
Yes. Today is we got like the highest infection in Thailand, but no,
Oh,
I
okay.
just come back from outside, but still okay. Uh,
Yes,
but I
I'm
still safe.
glad
I
to hear
still
that.
safe. I work at
Yes.
homes about like a month already. It's make me like this boring homes already.
Actually, it's the new norm.
Yeah, it's hope. I hope that everything will be better soon.
I hope so. I hope I can travel back to Thailand. So I think I
Yeah,
missed a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
things when I went there. It's just a couple of days. So I wasn't able
yeah.
to really go there. So I hope you'll share with us more about today. So thank you again, Marat, and
Yep.
I'll leave it to you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Actually, today my topic is about the Fugu project. But actually, what the Fugu focus uh, is a topic that I already showed on the slide. That what web can do today and also the future, because I think everyone heard a lot of the stuff that about the progressive web apps or the durability of the app. Sorry, is the durability of the web that can be complete the app. But I think no one know like the whole things what is happening on the web. So today, so I will tell you is what's happened on the web like almost 2 years, or before we got the COVID, or also during the COVID. Okay. 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 My name is Varat Womanikit. I'm from Thailand. Right now, I'm still in Thailand too. Uh, I'm a chief product officer of the Y side. My mainly focus on the company is to do the product management. But with my tech background, I help my team to conduct all the tech activity. And also, I am a Google developer expert for web technology. But what my focus is the web capabilities and web performance. So actually, as I switch in the two topics about the web performance and the web capabilities, but I think these topics would be nice to share and would be better to make everyone's amazed. Okay, today is what we will talk is focus on the four things: is security and web performance, web capabilities, and Safari 14 that changed a lot because iOS is a big player on this market, but the Safari is a little bit different from other browser. So we start with security first before we go to Fugu, mainly Fugu. But I want to update you about the security first. I think everyone heard about a cookie that already changed. Right now, you cannot pass the cookies over to the third-party website if you cannot, if you're not set up on the server. So basically, you can pass a cookie to another site for only one step, like A to B, just another page with a get request, because defaults of the browser will be same site cookies equal is lax is a default one. But if you are not changed in the future, it will be changed to not called origins. So it will be none. That means you cannot pass any cookie outside your website. That means only on your website. Sorry, it's will be changed to strict that you are not allowed to send to another website. And if you don't want to restrict your cookie, you can change to none. That means your cookies can go everywhere. It means go to another website, go to another website, and it is in multiple steps. So that is a thing that we change the cookie. Because in the past, you can pass a cookie over the domain, across the domains, and that with that capability, you can track the history of the people that use the website. So it makes the privacy of the users going to be leaked. So the browser changes the privacy of the cookie to save the user. And also last year, so when the PWA is coming up, or notification is one feature that everyone loves to use, because this is one thing that web cannot beat up. But a lot of the website use this feature as a spam. So the browser don't want to make the user annoyed. So they shutting down the spam notification by using the data that user the click block notification. If the user clicks block the notification on some website is too much, the default of that site notification will be blocked. So user have to be allowed by themselves, and website cannot show the pop-up that a user clicked the notification. It's sadly because I think this feature is very helpful, but if it makes many user annoyed, so I think that it's good for closing first. But honestly, that feature still work. You can still send the notification in the iOS. For Chrome or Microsoft Edge. So the next one is web performance. Last year, Google has launched Web Vitals. It's a new metrics for measurement the speed of web, include the LCP, large content footprints, first input delay, and cumulative layout shift. That is a new metrics that will be used for many things of the Google in the future. So the Lighthouse score is already changed the way that they calculate. So you can go to the website web.dev/vital to see what is LCP, FID, or CLS, that like name of some element in the world, but it's not. Okay, the WebP now become a standard already, because the iOS already support the WebP even in the beta. But in the iOS 14, WebP will be default support. So you don't need to worry about the using WebP on iOS, because it will be support very near future. So only one reason that we need the JPEG is only we need to support the IE. So as I told you, the WebP is already supported in iOS, even on the flags clearly. And when the WebP is a support in the nationwide, the Google has created a new one. It's called AVIF. AVIF is smaller than WebP and smaller than JPEGs, obviously. So you can use AVIF for new websites that you focus on the Chrome support. But with some technical limitation, AVIF right now is not support on Microsoft Edge that even use the Chromiums. Native image lazy loading. I think everyone knows about the lazy load already, and lazy load is in the past you need the additional library for make your picture became the lazy load. But right now on the Chrome, image lazy load is already native, and also Safari support the lazy load too. So you just put loading lazy to your image tag will be change your image tag or picture text to the lazy image. That will be support Chrome, Safari, and Microsoft Edge eventually. So lazy load helps a lot. I think everyone knows, but in the past it's not easy to set up because you need to install the library and put amounts of JavaScript on your site. But today is not. Do not need anymore. It's native for browser. HTTP, we are still with the TCP protocol for web, like since the day one of the web. But in the HTTP 3, it will be changed to the UDP. It make web faster, and the transport of the data will be better. So right now, the HTTP 3 became standard. Some provider is accept HTTP 3 already, but is still on the progress. Is not on the fully support yet, like HTTP 2. So this word is I recommend you to focus because it will be happen in the couple years from now. Okay, that is a two part that a little bit same as in the Fugu projects. But when we focus on the Fugu projects, we focus on the two things. One is a PWA experience. First of all, I want to say thank yous for Microsoft that make the web better every day. Because after the Microsoft enter the games of the Chromiums, I think everyone heard about the Microsoft change to the Chromiums. Everything is changed. Microsoft in the past, Google is focused on the Chrome OS and Android OS. So the feature of the PWA in the past is only focused on the Android experience. So we will see the apps experience of the Android or the mobiles on the PWA. Some is on the Chrome OS, but it's very limited. But when Microsoft stepped into this game, everything is changed because Microsoft is look like they have a mission to make the developer can develop app by web technology. So they launched a PWA on the Microsoft Store. They launched some feature that very attached to the window on the Microsoft Edge, and that also on the Google Chrome. So it will be impacts in the bigger market because if you include like Microsoft Edge and Google Chrome, the percentage of the user on this world is like 99+% of the user that use the true browser. So this is what is a little bit sample that this is a little bit sample of what the PWA changed from last year or last 2 years. One thing is input enter key. So when you use Android or actually iOS, the keyboard of the mobiles is like they have a one enter type. So right now you can change enter type by yourself because I think in the past you can change by using the type of the text input for specifics the enter type of the enter button. The batching API, this is one thing that Microsoft contribute since the day one that they enter to this Chromium's home. So you can set the batch of the number of the notifications on the taskbar and also on the Android that made the people knows how many the notifications on that app are like 999 plus or some chat application that on your phones. But right now, web can't do it. If user add that app to home screen, you can set that the bash to that icon. right now you can use in Windows, and also I'm not sure about Mac, but Android already support app shortcut icon menu. In the Android, you can like hold touch and see the shortcut menus on the icons. This already support on Androids and the web. You just when user add the web to home screen and user just click hold, you can set up the shortcut, the menus of that web. I think in my head it's web swap between web and app, web and app. Actually, it's in the PWA. But this feature is not only support on Android, but is already support on Windows too. So you just like click on the icons and it will show up the shortcut menus in the window too. That is a small thing that happens in the in the PWA side. The web capability that mainly I was talking about the integration with the platform, not about the experience thing. I think everyone knows about the right now web can connect the platform more than in the past. Web is not like something to show up the content anymore, and also web can connect the hardware like USB or Bluetooth or GPS or many stuff. So this happened in the past, and it's almost thing is look like it's stopped until last year. All the features start again. So right now, web is has ability to connect more hardware and integrate more platform ability. So that is the main core of the Fugu project. Fugu project, that is a project of the Googles and Microsoft, Operas, everyone in the Chromium community. The mission of the Fugu project is make web has ability like an app. That the mains of the mission of the Fugu project. So many things that you saw on the first slide, on the first slide, that is a part of the Fugu project. But if you see on the Fugu project side, they have many stuff that is going to be happen soon. Also, is happening. So I will show you the URLs on the end. So right now, webs can connect more hardware and integrate more the system in the if you see the right blue text. So I will go through some feature that show in this slide one by one and make you understand what happens already on the web right now. Web share API. Actually, web share API is already support quite a while, already 1 year. Right now you can like make the web share to native app of the mobile phones or to Chrome OS. Actually, it will be happen in Mac on the Safari and also on the iOS, if I remember correct. But it's not support on the Chromes on the desktop yet. But you don't need to do the chat dialog by your own self, because you can use a system dialog that very seamless, is very good experience to the user. And also in the different way, when user add to home screen your app, you can make the user share to your app too. Like you want to make user to click share and see your PWAs on the share dialog. You can use something called share target API. Or sorry, I think I forgot the header on this slide, but it's called share target API. It's the same things or that or make the user can share out from your app. So it's like a two-way things on about share. Web OTP API. This is one thing that I love, because when you use an app, when app send their SMS to the user on the phones for putting the OTP. Normally, it's a good app will be autofill the OTP to the apps like automatically. But web cannot do it. You have to copy. You have to read the message. But with this feature, you can fill the OTP automatically to web. But you have to set up the some pattern of the SMS that makes the web understand the OTP. Wake lock API. When you make the web, is one thing is happen is the phone love to dim the screen all the time because it's like when you're not active, the screen will dim, right? Sometimes you don't need to you don't want the web browser to dim your user screen, so you can use wake lock API to make the screen always bright and not sleep in like many cases. So the wake lock API will help you to increase experience about the games, about many stuff that platform doesn't know that need to be the keep and sleep all the time. Contact picker API. This is one thing that I love with, like when you want to user to select the contacts. In the past, user have to switch to the contacts, copy and pass on their text fields or whatever. But right now, you just like wake up the contact picker APIs and phones will be show up the your contact list, and you just click. The phones will be sent the detail of the contact that you pick to the website. I got some information that iOS 14 will be support this feature. Also, not only the Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge that support this feature, but now Google Chrome is already support this as a default in the stable version. Web authentication API, we already stick with the login with the username and password. So when we do the like 2FA, two-factor authentication, we have to send to another apps or use SMS or everything. But right now, actually, you can access the fingerprints, touch ID, or face ID, face recognitions, everything that on the phones from the web. This is the API called Web Authentication API. It's already support on Safari and already support on the Google Chrome, include phones and desktop. Actually, if I remember correctly, Safari on the desktop is already support. Native file system API. This thing will be shipped the way that app work. So, okay, try to imagine when you use a Photoshop, you just click the open files. When you're done the file, you just click saves, right? That is normal thing that happen on the app. But when you go to the web, you cannot do it. You have to like use upload to upload the files. And when you're done it, you have to click to download the files. You cannot open and save. Native file system API will help you to open and save. Add a capability of open and save to your web. You just like click open, select files. When you edit the file, you just click save, and it will be write direct to the files. That is a new capabilities of the web. Native file system APIs currently is not support on the stable yet, but it's very soon. I remember not long, it will be next 2 or 3 months, it will be support on stable. So right now you can enable on the flags for using this feature. This one is very new. It's just a couple days ago. Actually, it's like a hacking thing. It means you can custom the header bar of the I don't know, it's title bar of the PWA app. You just change a little bit configuration, and you just write down the CSS that it will be start from the top of the app without like title bar. That is make your web feeling like app more than in the past. Web NFC, this is first thing that about the hardware. Phones right now has NFCs, like not default, but many phones have NFC. You can write out a web to write the NFC and read the NFC. So this feature will help you to find the new way to get the data instead of the QR code that already is on the market over like 20 year, and also it will be safe like the QR code also. User idle detection. When user like not move anything on the web should be sleep for saving the data and for saving the energy of the computer. So right now you can detect the is users move or not move. So if user is idle, that means the user is not active. The browser will trigger the data to use and the make you to like do some things without losing the power. Web HID, you can connect Joy-Cons, keyboard, or Steam Decks or whatever to the web. That means you can use a joysticks of the Nintendo Switch with your web. Okay. Camera pan, tilt and zoom. You can use a camera on your web is like quite a long time, since like 2010 maybe, I think so, but you cannot zoom and pan and tilt. So this feature will help you to control pan, tilt, and zooms of your camera, include phones, include the webcam. So it's make the web conference app, like web apps is better. So I still switch between web and app because it's like apples more than in the past. Window placement API, I think we have a many screen right now. So web right now you can control the many screen from the one place, and you can send one window open to another screen and main screen for like with the single line of code. For the board screen, it's quite near to end right now. For the board screen, I think many people saw the foldable screen device like phones or Microsoft Duo, something like that. But web is not support yet. So in the future, the Windows start talking about the forward screen API to help the web developer can like develop web easier on the forwardable screen, include dual screen and single screen forwardable. Right now, they have some library that help developer that like just give the developer of the positions of the speed pass of the screens. I mean, in the point, what is the pixels of the separator? What is the pixels of the half of the screen? Because not all the device is separate in the half, right? Right now they have a polyfill that is will be prototype that will be happen, so you can download it very soon. So and more like I told you, when Windows step into this game, they add more the OS integration, like run PWAs on OS login, capture files, like you open files, and that will ask you you want to open with this PWA or the normal app, like open the Microsoft Word, that they have many choice, include your PWA tab application mode for PWA, or the URL protocol, like you can create URL protocol of yourself, or access the local font access without, like, because normally you can access font, only the font on the CSS, but this feature will help you to access the font that install on the local. That will help everyone to make the good application that very integrate to the OS. So, but Safari 14 is very in a bit games. So Safari has some limitation that cannot update very fast, because Safari is a part of the iOS. If the Safari update is iOS will be not update the Safari inside. iOS have to update first, and Safari will be attached in the same package of the updating. of the updating, but that only in the iOS part. But for the Mac part, Safari is quite update, but the features and the focuses of the Safari is not same like of the Chromium. So some of the feature that Chrome or Microsoft is already support, Safari is not support yet, and also some features that support very long time Safari just support. Example, okay, but first of all, Chrome in Safari is not Chrome, that you have to understand it. Chrome in Safari is Safari that have a Chrome frames outside. So if we're talking about its feature on the iOS, uh, Chrome in the iOS is related in the Safari. Sorry, I think its tag is not correct. I forgot to share that. Chrome in iOS is not Chrome. Chrome in iOS is Safari that has a Chrome frame. So that update a little bit of the Safari 14. Flash is gone. And also we have a Safari extension. Picture-in-picture API is already on the Safari 14. Web chat API is already on the Safari 14 also, but it's level 2. Level 2 is share files. Level 1 is shares only the URL. Web authentication API, web key, and contact picker API. Right now, it's already is on the Safari 14 that you can use on the web. You can use on the desktop and iOS. So this is the last one. I think information is quite overload for everyone. You can capture to this link, enter to the website. You will see what's going on the web, especially for foodtracker.web.app. Inside there, it has a lot of the features that will already ship, shippings, and will ship in the future. So that is for today. I don't know. I think we still have time to do the Q&A, right? Okay, so
Yes,
let
we're at.
ask me the question. Okay.
Okay, so uh, before thank you so much for that talk. I guess some questions here are already answered. So first is, do most of the features support Safari as well, or it is only limited to Chrome based browsers? But I think you already answered this one, or do you want to add anything?
I think mainly is focus on not Safari browser. I can say that. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to like blame the Safari, but I understand that Safari has another focus on the browser, and the way that they ship the browser is a little bit different from other. Uh, and like Safari is open source, but not much people contribute. So that's why Chrome is moving very fast, because they have Opera, they have a Microsoft, and they have a Google. But I think the Safari in last years, include this years, they move very fast, and they react the features of the Safari of the Chrome changes very fast too. So I think it will be not gonna be the big problem in the future.
Okay. Thanks so much, Barat, for that additional input on the question about Safari. Next
Yeah.
is, are these new web capabilities advisable to use in production, or are they highly experimental?
Uh, I think depends. Depends on what you expect. Like if you do the if if you user focus on the Safaris or on the IE, uh, some of the new capability will be not work. But I I think it's all the web capability that I talk is it should be the additional ones, or you have to handle the way that you put to the production. Like if this feature like web share, if web share is available, you can use it system web share, but it's not, you have to handle with the your build, yeah, like you build your own web share dialog. So and also the some of the feature is already have a polyfill to handle when the browser is not support. So I think the the percentage of the user of the Chrome is quite big when you ship the feature, some feature, if uh, even not support like for whole the user, but your the big chunk of the user will be got the benefit of that. That answer
Okay.
the question?
Okay, so what from what I am getting, it depends especially on the
Yeah,
availability of what you're
yeah,
using.
yeah.
Okay, all right. So let me ask our participants, please key in your concerns before we end the Q&A session with Dorat in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you so much, Dorat, for that wonderful
Okay.
talk. And I'm looking forward to see you soon.
Yeah, yeah, and I hope I can like five words include the
Yes.
Philippine word soon. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Philippine.
much, Dorat. Stay
Thank you,
safe.
thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye, bye bye.
All right. So I guess we're done with the two speakers, but now let's have a few closing words from our project lead, Stephen Raimundo.
Hi,
Hi,
Faye.
Stephen. Hello. I can
Do I
hear you
sound
now.
great? Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Finally,
Yes.
go take the stage.
Yes. Just want to say thank you to all of our volunteers and especially our speakers. All of this would not be possible without you guys. And to all of our viewers for today, we encourage you to fill out our feedback form. Let us know what you feel about our event and what Google technologies should we feature next. And that's it. Once again, thank you for joining us today and good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Stephen. And once again, thank you so much, everyone. And we're looking at the next level up with GDE. Thank you so much.